Tinie, the last time we spoke, you
Yeah.
just brought out a mixtape. Now
Yes.
you've just brought out an album, and
Yeah.
it's a very different product.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Of course. Right. I guess when I make mixtapes is always something that I've done as an MC, as a rapper. And for me, a mixtape is a little bit more of an independent project. So it's done a lot more locally. I mean, there was a mixtape I did before called Foreign Object, where I went to America, got a few features and tried to collaborate with American artists and English artists on the same record. But more often than not, it's a lot more of a local, quite straightforward process, you know. Not as many legalities. If you want to do a cover version of someone's song, you probably can. But obviously when you're making an album, there's a lot more of like a proper, like lengthy process. And I guess with my mixtape, I was able to just focus on one specific genre or one specific sound. And then with the album, it was a little bit more, I guess, eclectic and yeah, just a wider scope.
It's a very polished product as well, isn't it?
Yeah, sonically, yeah. So obviously spent a lot of money on the mixing and the mastering, went to all the best, recorded it here, but went to mix it in all the best studios in London or Europe or whatever. So yeah.
When you're making it, are you thinking how many singles are on this?
To be honest, because I'm signed to a record label, and my record label, obviously I've released loads of successful singles. I've had 7 #1 singles. So my brain, yes, I guess there is a autopilot type thing that happens where I think, how many singles have I got in it? Yeah.
So how many more are there on this?
On this, I believe, because I've already released 4, I've released Not Letting Go, which went to #1. I released Girls Like, which went to #5. And then after that, I released Mamacita, I released Text From Your Ex. I even released Chasing Flies, but did like a short film to it. I believe that there's maybe 2 more singles. But one of those, I don't believe that they are necessarily like radio singles, but I believe that they're singles.
The statistics that you have now are astonishing, aren't
Yeah.
they? How does that feel? In terms of the number of #1s.
Yeah, I'm just trying to add. I'm just trying to add to it, man. I feel like I'm already onto a really good thing, and I've achieved some incredible things with the help of like a great team, and I just want to keep on adding to that legacy.
The other thing that's happened in the last year is the bizarre explosion of grime.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not far away from Theresa May saying, she loves Skepta.
Yeah.
In terms of the almost mainstreamification of it all.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it was bizarre, bro, to be honest. What I would say is that I feel like it's always been around. But, like I have been saying in the past couple of interviews, I feel like before, where things were more so institutionalized, i.e., we are the institution, we are essentially, not in a conspiracy kind of way, but we're controlling what is kind of said and how information is put out. I feel like now that we have the internet, or we've always had we've had the internet for a little while now, but now that we have social media at the height that it is, I feel like it's almost been a bit of like a leveler. So it's like institution and TV and media and whatever are dictating that these are the people that we should like. However, there's this whole plethora of like other artists that are homegrown, that are British, that were born here, that have made a unique sound. When you think of grime is one of the only, I would probably say, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the newest original genres of music to come out of England. And that's what, the Brits are celebrated for, being able to be trailblazers and innovators when it comes to music. However, I just think that it got to a point where it was so undeniable, the numbers, the streams, the YouTube, the retweets, the engagement, the interaction, that it was like, oh, these people we've been trying to ignore for ages, we can't anymore, because now it's not even making sense who we're championing when all these guys are, charting independently, getting a #8 there, a #5 there, a #2 there, a #1 there. So you have, it's like kind of like everyone, not, I'm saying it in a proud way, but it's kind of like they forced themselves through.
But do you think the industry will co-opt it and sort of own it and sort of absorb it into the Borg,
yeah,
sort of thing, or will it maintain its authenticity?
To be honest, I think something as original as grime, which I guess everybody's proud to say they're from a place where it's originated from. I guess it's too original for it to ever lose its way. However, what I am hoping will be a good thing is that mainstream culture will totally accept it, and in the same way that we see hip hop, hip hop is, I can watch Modern Family, and I could see a hip hop artist make an appearance, or an NBA star, or someone from black culture, and it's completely normal and it's entirely fine. I hope to think that mainstream culture will accept grime, and it will cross-pollinate with other aspects of mainstream culture quite fluidly and naturally from here on. And it's here to stay, as opposed to, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago when it used to come in waves and trends,
And do you think the Brits have got it now? Do you think that they've changed the structure so that they will not discriminate against black music?
I think that, like I said, I think the internet is a leveler. So I think that, I wouldn't necessarily say it's by way of any like record label or by way of any, I don't know, media company. All I would say is that before I felt like, maybe artists from grime or from black music or from urban music maybe felt like they had to maybe assimilate more into, like, that culture was almost like an uninvited, unwelcome culture, but in order for them to be discovered or even to get an opportunity to sit with someone like you, they had to assimilate into, mainstream culture. But now, I don't believe that they do. I believe that they can make a song that doesn't sound like it needs to be on the radio, doesn't sound like it needs to be on any TV show or TV program, and they can tour and they can almost create their own cottage industry, which is here to stay. For as long as there's fans on the internet, for as long as there's fans buying their music, for as long as there's fans wanting to see them live and they're selling tickets, then they're in a good place. I don't think they can really be controlled or consumed by anyone.
It's almost become the done thing now for an artist at your level to become a brand. And you've got a clothesline coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why are you doing that? Are you doing that because the money's gone out of music? Or what?
No. If anything, I'm probably making more money from music than I ever have. But the reason why I'm doing the clothing line is, I mean, I feel like I'm a member of the BFC. I'm an ambassador for London Fashion Week's Men. I have selflessly, over the past 4 or 5 years, attended pretty much every fashion show for every British menswear designer, and a lot of the women's wear designers as well. But pretty much every British menswear designer, I've been an advocate of British fashion. I've learned from designers, I've spoken to designers. I basically feel like I'm very close to putting my 10,000 hours into the world of fashion and style. And so for me, I wanted to basically create a collection and a line that showed the way I see menswear in 2017 because I feel that our traditional idea of how a British man dresses is, no disrespect to you, but like a jacket, trousers or jeans and shoes. But I feel like that is then, and I feel like there's a new generation.
What do you want us to wear?
Well, what I've made, basically, what I've made, what I can
on the
see.
news, okay,
Yeah.
a hoodie on the news.
Yeah, I mean, but this is not it. This is just some youth merchandise. This is not it. But for me, I basically feel like there's a new generation. There's new rules. In the same way that we're talking about grime, like, let's be real, there are also so many other new things that we have been introduced to. I mean, I'm not saying grime is new, but there's so many other things that we have been introduced to into mainstream culture in recent times, whether it's memes, whether it's internet, whether it's YouTube stars, whether everything is changing. The world is changing, the rules are changing. And so for me, I wanted to make a collection that I feel met the modern man from London, from the UK, of any age, to be honest, can wear one or many of these pieces from this collection and be in a formal or very relaxed environment.
You're saying I could wear your clothes and not the ridiculous?
You could wear my clothes on the news. In fact, I'm going to make something for you to wear on the news permanently.
That's
wear it all
amazing.
the time,
Yeah, well, I'll take you up on that. The last time we spoke as well, I asked you, I mean, I know you're very engaged with issues and young people. You said something very striking, which was that you didn't think politics made a big difference to young people. Yesterday,
when I said that, What I mean by that is I think the issue of politics and I think the conversation is not the way that it's done does not necessarily relate to young people. I feel like the communication mechanisms and tools that they use, I don't feel, even when we look at the statistics of it, I don't feel like it's resonating with young people in the right way. I'm not saying, obviously politics governs the way we live. Politics governs the way we're educated. It governs how much money comes into our country. So of course it relates technically to us or to young people. However, what I meant by that is that the way it's spoken about, the way we're even educated about politics in school, politics, in my opinion, should be a standard in the national curriculum. That's what we call it, the national curriculum. It should be. Politics should be a standard in the national curriculum. Entrepreneurialism and knowing how to build your own business, especially in this time now where we have the internet, that should be a standard. Do you get what I mean? Coding is becoming a standard now, which is quite obvious why. I think we even need to learn how to grow our own food and learn about nutrition and health. All of these things I believe should be standards, and they do very much relate to us. But what I meant by what I said before is that the way I feel like it's communicated, the platforms in which we watch it on, and the way it's fed to us, I don't think it is made relatable to young people.
So they called an election. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that, and how do you think young people should engage with it?
To be honest, I think that it is the duty of the government, and I just tried to give you a few solutions here. Like, I don't have all the answers, do you get what I mean? But like I said, these are things that I think from the offset, every human being, once we get into education, we should be aware. Oh, that's the other thing I think should be compulsory. Law. I think in school we should be learning about law, our rights, from 5 years old. We should know. Legally, I'm allowed to do this, I have this. But that is the way that I feel that young people are going to be able to engage with politics more if it's ingrained into their education from a very early age.
But it's my job, to try and engage young people through my medium, which is TV. And you're saying, and you're probably right,
but how many young people watch TV now in this day and age?
Exactly. So how do we engage? So how do we engage young people with the fact that there's a general election that they've got to vote in because it affects their lives?
Well, to be quite honest with you, if we do go back to Grime, because you're asking me a question that I don't have an answer to, but I'm sitting here with you trying to work it out and trying to figure it out because I do feel like it's important. I feel like with everything that you guys have done in respect to Grime and the love that you've shown Grime and the attention that you've shown Grime, is it fair to say that it's something that I guess you as a news presenter has done, like, I guess, out of the ordinary in recent times? It's a subject that is not your usual subject. However, it's been able to galvanize a demographic of people. It's been able to excite a demographic of people, and it's been able to, more importantly, make a demographic of people feel like they are worth something. So before, we could read about ourselves on the internet, but now I'm watching Primetime Channel 4, and they're talking about me. They're talking about my lyrics. They're talking about this and that. In the same way that you just by shedding a little light on that over there has been able to have such an impact and such an effect. I do believe that some of those figures and figures from within those worlds, or some of these other new worlds that I've been mentioning, the YouTubers, just the youth, let's just be real. Who are we kidding? I am 28, you are however old you are. There are 16-year-olds out there now that are fully cognitive, are thinking about life. At 16, you can have sex, you can have a child, you can get a job, you could live by yourself. So I'm 28 years old. Do you get what I mean? So this person is 10 years, 12 years younger than me. So my thing is, if we are looking for the solution, because we all are, I don't have the answer to it, we need to think about how we can galvanize these people and how we can get these people to almost spread the message. And then if you have a backbone of it being ingrained in our education, right, cool, maths essential, science essential, religious education, I guess, or theology essential, spirituality, but beyond that, what are my rights? Yeah, what are my rights? What do I need to know about politics so I'm well versed? Because as far as I'm concerned, the people who within my pool of friends seem excited, the most excited about politics are people of a certain age group. You know, people that are in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, and people that read broadsheet papers. And that's just me generalizing and watching the news. But within my pool of friends, you know, all the people that came to my pop-up on Saturday to eat Morley's chicken and chips, they're not the people, but, you know, those people that I mentioned before are. So if it is ingrained into our education system, which I don't see why it shouldn't be, then in the same way that, you know we need maths to survive, and we know that we need to understand science to know that we're breathing in air and we're breathing out carbon dioxide, I think politics, you know, we are a sum of what we're taught, right? I think politics will just be a second innate nature to us to understand and for us to care about, to be honest.